Think about it. Where would modern philosophy be without the big ideas of freedom, identity, and reality? Many of those ideas started not in philosophy books, but in literature. From Goethe to Kafka, Nietzsche to Brecht, German writers didn't just tell stories, they shaped the way we think today. And in the next 9 minutes, I'm going to show you how German literature laid the foundation for psychology, existentialism, political theory, and even modern self-help philosophy. Let's dive in. Goethe and Schiller were more than just authors. They were philosophers in disguise. Their works deeply influenced German idealism, the movement that shaped Kant, Hegel, and even today's self-development theories. Take Goethe's Faust, a story about a man who sells his soul for ultimate knowledge. When Faust says, "Two souls, alas, reside within my breast," he's articulating the human struggle between our animal instincts and higher aspirations, something psychology still wrestles with today. Goethe's concept of Bildung, the lifelong process of cultivating yourself, basically invented what we now call personal development. That meditation app on your phone? It's a descendant of Goethe's radical idea that humans should constantly evolve. And Schiller? His idea of the aesthetic education of man, that art and beauty make us better people, was groundbreaking. When he wrote, "It is through beauty that we arrive at freedom," he wasn't just being poetic, he was offering a solution to human liberation that sidesteps violent revolution. But let's move forward, because things are about to get even more radical. Nietzsche, the guy famous for saying, "God is dead." But here's something most people don't know. He got many of his rebellious ideas from Heinrich Heine, a poet who was mocking religion and power decades before Nietzsche. Heine wrote things like, "God will forgive me, it's his job." Sounds like Nietzsche, right? Heine's poetry was intellectual dynamite, destroying sacred cows before anyone knew what hit them. Nietzsche's idea of the Übermensch, the person who creates their own values, is everywhere in today's culture. From tech entrepreneurs who think different to wellness influencers preaching your truth, Nietzsche's fingerprints are all over modern individualism. Without these writers, we might not have modern atheism, radical self-reliance, or the whole think for yourself movement. That question everything attitude central to science and personal development, it comes straight from German literature's refusal to accept conventional wisdom. But if Nietzsche shook the world of morality, another German writer changed how we see reality itself. Ever felt stuck in a system you don't understand? Blame Franz Kafka. His stories, like The Metamorphosis and The Trial, feel like nightmares, where power is faceless, rules make no sense, and you are lost in bureaucracy. When Gregor Samsa wakes up as a giant insect, it's not just weird fiction, it's a perfect metaphor for alienation in the modern age. Ever felt dehumanized by your job? That's the Kafka feeling. And The Trial, where Joseph K. is arrested without knowing his crime? That's not just a story, it's a prophecy about surveillance states, cancel culture, and the feeling that you're always one mistake away from social destruction. Every dystopian movie, every Black Mirror episode, every critique of bureaucracy, they all owe a debt to Kafka's vision. Without him, we might not have had Sartre, Camus, or even 1984. That therapist helping you with your existential crisis? They're working with concepts Kafka illustrated a century ago. But German literature didn't just shape individual philosophy, it also shaped how we see society and politics. Bertolt Brecht's plays, like The Threepenny Opera, weren't just entertainment. They were weapons, challenging capitalism, inequality, and the way we accept injustice. Brecht invented the alienation effect, techniques that broke the audience's emotional immersion to make them think critically. His famous line, "First comes food, then comes morality," challenged the idea that poor people should be virtuous while starving. Every time a film breaks the fourth wall to make you question your assumptions, that's Brecht's legacy. And Thomas Mann? His novels were intellectual battlegrounds where rationalism and irrationalism fought for dominance. He saw both world wars coming before they started. His novel, Dr. Faustus, reimagined the Faust legend through a composer who makes a deal with the devil, a perfect metaphor for Germany's deal with fascism. These writers forced people to question the world, leading to critical theory, Marxist thought, and the way we analyze power today. The entire Frankfurt School of Critical Theory emerged from this literary tradition of questioning authority and systems. But we're not done yet, because one German writer literally helped invent psychology. Sigmund Freud is known as the father of psychoanalysis. But guess what? He said that Arthur Schnitzler understood the human mind better than he did. Schnitzler's books explored dreams, desires, and hidden fears before Freud even published his first paper. His novella Dream Story, which became Kubrick's film Eyes Wide Shut, probed the boundary between dreams and reality. Freud admitted that if Schnitzler had been a scientist instead of a writer, he would have been the true founder of psychoanalysis. E.T.A. Hoffmann's uncanny tales of doubles, automata, and madness were mapping the unconscious decades earlier. His story, The Sandman, was so psychologically insightful that Freud based his theory of the uncanny on it. German literature didn't just reflect psychology, it helped create it. Concepts like projection, repression, and the divided self existed in German literature long before they became psychological terms. That therapeutic insight about how your past shapes your present, German writers were exploring that connection generations before it became clinical wisdom. So let's sum it up. Goethe and Schiller shaped modern ideas of freedom, beauty, and self-development. Nietzsche and Heine destroyed old moral systems and birthed radical individualism. Kafka gave birth to existentialism and our understanding of modern alienation. Brecht and Mann reshaped politics and warned us about irrational power. Schnitzler and Hoffmann influenced Freud, and literature helped invent psychology itself. German literature isn't just books, it's the foundation of modern thought, and its influence hasn't faded. That TV series about moral ambiguity? It's applying Nietzschean insights. That movie about feeling trapped in systems? Pure Kafka. That wellness guru telling you to find your authentic self? They're recycling ideas from German Romanticism. These writers predicted our modern dilemmas. They foresaw our struggles with technology, bureaucracy, meaning, identity, and power long before these became everyday concerns. They weren't just writers, they were prophets of modernity. Now, your turn. Which German book changed your perspective? Drop it in the comments and tag a friend who needs to hear this.